Ladies and gentlemen, I presented a piece that I wrote about the reasons why we need 36 holes at Alameda, and I've given it to you in writing, but in light of the presentation that frankly has surprised me to say the least tonight, I'm going to let you read that and let some others talk about some of those points, because I think some other points need to be brought out. I'm actually kind of shocked that we are receiving this tonight and being asked to respond to it immediately on our feet without any chance to do any research to, as Joe usually puts it, drill into the numbers that Mr. Blake presented. I think that there are a lot of questions that need to be asked about some of the assumptions that he made. For one thing, he said that his company is willing to put $5 to $5.25 million of capital improvements into the golf course, but that NGF, in its operational review, said that $8 million were needed if you were to renovate all 36 holes. If you really just do the math, how do you get from $5 million to $8 million if you're only eliminating 1/4 of the capacity? It doesn't make sense. If you logically extend if it's going to take $5 million to renovate 27, then it logically should take somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 point something to renovate 36, if you just do the analysis of math. That's just one of those things that I'm sitting here in the audience trying to figure out. I also know, even though it's unfortunately sitting back on the floor of my family room at home, the NGF study, because I looked at it over the last few days, and the money that NGF projected for the capital improvement needs of all 36 holes in Alameda also included over $2 million, I believe, for building a new clubhouse, which of course is not part of the Kemper proposal. So if you take the $2 million off, then NGF numbers come down quite a bit. It needs to be analyzed thoroughly, and it needs to be discussed thoroughly with Kemper in a situation where Kemper can respond to questions from the golfing public as to what it intends to do. I'm actually shocked that Kemper doesn't want to do 36 holes, because 36 holes, although it may cost a little bit more in capital improvements, gives so much more flexibility to golf. And it allows for the historical tournaments that have been part of Alameda's history for 75 years in the case of the East Bay Juniors, and for 83 or 84 years in the case of the commuters, to continue. 27 holes does not allow that to continue. Now, clearly, I think we'd already crossed over the hurdle, and I'm frankly surprised that so much time in negotiations were spent about considering keeping everything as is under a management agreement. We've all agreed that the course needs capital improvements, and we've all become convinced that the city of Alameda can't finance those improvements, and therefore we had to go out to an outside vendor to find a way to finance the improvements. So we wasted a lot of time on a conclusion that everyone agreed about, 18 months ago. So the question is, capital improvements, what can they be done? Well, what about taking $5 million or $5.25 million and spreading them out over 36 holes? Can we get something done that isn't maybe quite at the level that Kemper is proposing, but is good enough to sustain our parkland in Alameda? Please remember that the golf courses are designated under the city charter, section 2212, as parkland. Please remember also that the land that we used to build the Jack Clark South course was acquired through eminent domain, where we represented that the city of Alameda needed the land for parkland. Parks are not supposed to be money makers necessarily. Parks are supposed to be amenities. We need to preserve this amenity for the citizens of Alameda, and I'm sure you'll get many speakers who are going to come up and tell you, like the girls did, why we need 36 holes. It provides a kind of flexibility for marketing that I'm frankly shocked that Kemper isn't willing to undertake. But the big point that I need to make, and I'll come back to it, is the process. We should have gotten some report on what Kemper wanted to do long before tonight, so that it could have been presented to the Golf Commission. We could hold a hearing whereby golfers in the community can come in and ask questions and to drill down, as Joe uses it, into those numbers and figure out what they've done. Instead, we're here tonight trying to respond on our feet to a proposal that took us completely by surprise, and now you're being asked to rule on it tonight. I think that at the very least, you should defer your decision on this until we've had a chance to survey the community. Mayor Gilmore, in, I believe it was June or July of 2008, you stated that we need to engage the community to get the community's ideas about what needs to be done at the golf complex. That has not been done. Instead, everything has been kept secret within the interim city manager's office, and I'm not talking about Ms. Goldman, I'm talking about Ms. Gallant. It was kept secret. There was no attempt to find out what the golfers in the community want. There was no attempt to ask the Golf Commission to assist in giving information to the City Council as we're mandated to do under the municipal code. So we ask you to please defer a decision on this to give us more chance to look into this plan, to get a copy of it, to ask questions of Kemper, and to find out some of these answers. Thank you.